Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I guess we start with Ramadan Mubarak since seems to be the role. Well, this is relatively short. What I want to talk about is that, of course, we've been through the process of preparing for Ramadan. Okay, today we had a janazah here. Brother Ali and Basil called me a day or two ago. I said, sure. Just they said we just want to have a little janazah. We're just gonna be in and out. I said, well, you want us to get prepared for anything? I said, no, we're just gonna be a few people, and then we're just gonna run in and pray the janazah. And so when the people started coming in, I was down there cooking, you know. And then Brother Basil said, we was expecting that you was going to do the janazah. I said, no, Brother Ali said he wanted to use the masjid and you could have, there you go. So when the people started coming, and that's why we're going to do janazahs like we have been doing. When the people started coming, I looked and, when we do janazahs, we got someone at the door, someone downstairs, and probably someone outside. And we set up the chairs. It was nothing set up for the janazah. Nothing. I mean, so I saw a few people and they was coming out. I said, well, let me put up a few chairs. And I kept at that, just a few people. So I put up 4 or 5 chairs. Then I looked again. I put up part of it. Then I put up some over there. And then I told the brothers the place was packed. The place was packed and they was not managing the people. The only thing it could have been dealt with properly or close to properly was the takbirs. I heard the takbirs from downstairs. But from now on, when we have a janazah, uh, either we're going to do it ourselves or they can choose who they want. Maybe the way we got in our mind now, we do it ourselves because we know how to. We don't even have to look how to do what we're doing. We know that it's going to be a lot of mixed crowd, mixed women, And I said, hey man, you got to put up some chairs up there. He said, no, they're going to sit on the floor. And one of the ladies just strolled in. I said, she ain't going to, unless you just want to look all on her body parts and everything. She can't sit down. You know what I mean? And it's a crew of those, and it's a mixed crew. So anyway, I'm still down there. You can probably smell the food now. I'm still down there cooking and peeling and putting together. And I'm seeing everybody roll in, and there's nobody to direct. That's the men's bathroom. That's the women's bathroom, because they ain't never been here before. So I'm doing what I can down there. There's nobody outside, and this is like if they had never did a janazah before, it would be one thing. But he's been here, doing many, So anyway, I said that this is the people are coming here and they expect, you know what I mean, a certain. We got to treat the people like, like they don't know where they're coming, and they don't know how to carry themselves. Can we wear our shoes upstairs? Do we take our shoes off? There's nobody directing. Even in the church, they have ushers. You know what I mean? Ushers. They go down here, take a seat over here, right? So anyway, It's not that I was upset about it, but first of all, uh, if we would have been told, if they'd have had an idea about how many people was coming, then we could have, we would have had somebody here anyway, if you know what I mean. But I'm no, no, no. It's only gonna be two, three people, and we just gonna pray, bring the body in, pray, and then on the da 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 da. So this is what I was dealing with. This is what I was thinking. Oh, it's gonna be 4 or 5 people, or 10 people, and no, it was a couple hundred people or something. It was full. The place was packed. All them chairs was full. But see, if we was well, we know how to run a janai. If they fill up with brothers, we'll ask the brothers to ease off and sit on the side, and we'll let the sisters have them. Because half the time, the crowd was the same. Half Muslims with triple niqab, and others with just a G-string type stuff. Well, I mean, it was more than that, but I mean, so uh, I'm gonna just let the brothers know. No, we're not gonna do that no more unless no, they can do a janaza, and I'm thinking about whether let them do it or we do it all the time. That's kind of the standard, the imam do it. Da, da, da. But I was saying no. Uh, the way they was talking is they wanted at first Basil. Now Basil them got a whatever their hustle is him and Ali. Because when we was over at that funeral home around the corner, when Christopher Berry passed, there was a lot of different things going on, and they were saying, I think they might have washed his body. He might have had 3 or 4 janazas. I don't know. But I know when I heard about it, they said, we want you to wash the body. I said, fine. So I went over there, and Basil was there. I think Basil and Ali is cooking up something around here because this was several years ago. They was when Christopher died. They was all over, all over there huddled all up, and that was when what's the name was still alive that worked for the mayor, not the mayor, worked for. I mean, yeah, all of that crew. Not that it's a government crew, but uh, whatever going on, we don't want nothing out of it. We just want to, if somebody call us, yes, we'll come and wash the body and prepare the body. Okay. Uh, when Brother Tufel and Brother Ali, we prepared the body over there. There's a funeral home right there near Pennsylvania Avenue, just before you get. There's a Shell gas station, then there's another gas station over here. Just before you go around that little thing, there's a funeral home back up here a little bit. So anyway, we went over and prepared the body and everything, and I just took a little kit and I went and got, the paraphernalia. You have sheets and everything, but you have to tear the little seams off because it has to be seamless, you know. And then you cut a little space in there and put it over the brother, all that stuff. And so I don't know whether they was just testing me to see if I knew how to wash a body or not. Of course, I don't know what was going on, but it technically a lot of that stuff was unnecessary. Then over at the brothers, at Christopher, uh, first of all, they had asked me to come wash the body. Then they had the brother there, Basil. Okay, I like everybody, but I'm not talking about nobody. But out there in Gaithersburg, they had people that hung around out there and had old vans parked right in the, and it started trouble with like people getting tired of Negroes. They have a crew that's their job to make Arabs and everybody tired of Negroes. They wasn't like that with us. When we had a fundraiser for Imam Jamil once, the brother sitting right back there, uh, they started asking us. Remember years ago, we used to go, almost 20 years ago, we'd go out there, give a talk and what have you. Everybody loved us. If you notice, all of a sudden, the last 10 years or so, we haven't been on the invite. And the same people as invite walk by us like they don't see us that much. It's no big deal. The point I'm getting at is that uh, they have professional people all over America that give Negroes a bad name. That's their job. They hang around, they give Negroes a bad name. You know, either they're begging or you notice after a while they start, even if somebody was going to get zakat from them, you'd have to take it to an imam or somebody in the Negro community, and they would bring us the slips for us to sign for them, the money that they getting, and sure I'll sign it, but not that I've never seen you here before or nothing like that, and I'm sure you pray and fast. I'm sure that ain't no problem. But anyway, there's several points in this. Number one, we don't know what the Negro has done to the immigrant community because they do that to them. Okay, we've had the opportunity to see it. A lot of other people respond to them as though they don't they don't like us. But I remember the days when they were just happy to see us because there was no other Muslims in America with us. And can you imagine before they built all these big masajid and they would, you are Muslim? Sure. You know Al-Fatiha? Mm, it's a lot of money. Oh, it was just so much fun messing with them because they didn't. Just imagine you come from a country over there and all you see on TV is hostility for Islam. And you find there's people already here, Muslim, and they happy to be Muslims. Okay, the government knows that, and the government has always had a whole crew in every city. Negroes that make people sick. That's their job, to make people sick. That's what they do. They're professional making people sick. I'm sure we've all seen a few of them. But that's what their job is, to beg for money. Now, the people we're talking about would drive or old. They got a parking lot. You come off the street and Masjid is here and everything's. Then you just pull in. There's a nice parking lot. They used to have a big old van parked right there on a flat, and it would make the people would say, it would start fitna with the people inside. They got to move that thing. Where does our brother? So it starts fitna with them. But the problem is, these people are shiftless and lazy, right? And it's all across. It ain't no one place. Now it might have smoothed out because this is 20, 30 years later, 15 years later, 10 years later. They done already knocked everybody out of the box. Okay, so I'm not saying that that's where people come from, but the other thing is that there's a whole crew of people that they're doing the same job. They've always been something. You remember the job Marty Bray had years ago? He was their man. He would deliver books for them and dates, whatever they. That was his job, and he was their man. And they started calling him Imam Marty Bray. He couldn't make dua. He couldn't do that stuff like that, you know. And even when they had him in the newspaper about stealing money from some of his parents' stuff. I don't know. Do you remember that case? It was a he kept getting a check and his grandfather somebody died and they just you know huh yeah his father died and he kept getting a check and stuff like that, which the government can get serious after a while. Of course he never went to jail, and that's a government check, check. And so I don't say that it was a deal, but to keep so he moved his name from Mahdi Bray to Mahdi Bray. It's pretty serious. Anyway, and all the Arabs would call him Brother Mahdi. His name was Mahdi, like Maudi or Mahdi is what his name was. Anyway, and I'm not saying I participated in it too with him. Like, you remember all them Salafi books that I had? I had tons of them because he had a direct connection with them. And I used to pack them. There's still some over there. Kitabul Tawheed and all that. Man, I had all the good ones. Well, they gave them to him. And they gave him, his was wrapped in the Islamic Center of Cleveland with no stamp from Saudi Arabia. So those books, if I take the cover off, it came straight to me, in a green cover. So I was getting boxes, tons, I would get them maybe $15 a box and all that. And that's when I was going to programs. Shoot, I'd knock over 4 or 5 grand per thing. That's when we didn't have a lot of overhead. Man, then the Negro connection out there and, that I had on books, not plus our own books from Pakistan and India and everything. Man, we was half of the stuff we did. You remember the little book room over there? That boy had books on the wall all the way out here. And if you count, one book is $20 all the way up and 5 rows out, you adding up a lot of money. And all the way down, right? And everything else. And the point is that in the early days, years ago, that was part of our hustle. When we came here, we said, who's the biggest book man in D.C.? So it was Halalko. I said, well, we're going to catch him. In other words, if you catch the biggest guy, you're running pretty fast. So that's what we did. So for D.C., believe it or not, that little masjid up there was the biggest book distributor in D.C. And we did all kind of business with Halalko. Sometime he would get books from us, and everybody was thinking I was getting books from him because he's Halalko. It wasn't like that. Most of the time, he was getting books from us. But anyway, not to go through all those books. It was good. We had good connections. We bought a lot of this stuff with book money. But Mighty Braden was a Saudi distributors for all of those books, some of their books. So once you take the cover off, they stopped sending them over here like that. When they saw what I had, they'd write a report on it. When we'd be at ISNA, they'd see my whole table stacked with their books. I done took them out of remember the little black case they used to come in? The zipper. Yeah, the zipper with a whole package of their books. Okay, so I would take them out of all that and I would put them in them boxes. We have still some of them greenback books, a couple of boxes over there. So anyway, but it would have Dar es Salaam Press, and they would, where do you get those? Where do you get those? That's all I got to contact. And then remember that big encyclopedia? Good God Almighty, that thing cost $100 over at Halalco, and I was selling it for $50. So I was getting all the business of this. Then before I leave, because you don't want to bring all that stuff back, I would drop it down to $40. That big encyclopedia of Islam. Boy, look at here. I don't mean to get off in this stuff, but all the head guys from around here, first of all, Saudi, the one had a book on Arabic. He came and asked me, because people came and told him, there's a guy over there selling that book for $8. So he came over. Of course, I knew who he was. He said, how much is this book? He didn't ask me right away where did I get it because he's a distributor. And the two Negroes, I don't know if you know, used to work over in the place. One was, I don't know, they just be lying on people. He was a dope fiend, and I know he was no dope fiend. And the other one was Chicken Lips. Do you remember Chicken Lips? Chicken Lips, over at Masjid Muhammad. So Chicken Lips, him and Chicken Lips had a thing. And man, I hate to tell this story, but since I'm on it, I might as well. Anyway, they used to have good, well-printed books, Bible, Quran, and Science. They sold it at ISNA for $12. I sold it for $8. But I would get a box of 52 or 80 or something like that for not $25, but let's be extravagant, $50 per box. I don't think it was that much, maybe 40. So I was making 100 times the profit. So I could undersell everybody in the book thing. So everybody would go in. It isn't, all the big shots. Remember the tables right in the front and everything. So people go by and then they stop over, and I'd have a little thing. It says $8 for Bible, Quran, Science. $8 for that Arabic book. How to speak Arabic for English speaking. Some people like that. They would sell it for about $20. He sold it wholesale for $12, and I was selling it for $8. Cause see, you have your book, you do not like Jews or nothing, but you have a whole table of books. And remember how I used to do? I'd buy one table, then I would bring all my other tables. I'd put a table here, table back there, the table over here. That means I would have 4 or 5 tables, right? Yeah, I'd have 4 tables for one. And I'd have a little spot where they could walk in. We made thousands of dollars at each one of those things. And we didn't pay a whole lot for the books. It's because, man, that nice green Yusuf Ali, the fresh printed one, Arabic and English hardcover, they sold it at Halalco for $15. We bought them for 2. We bought them $2 each. And boxes. And I would go down to AMC, and the white boy used to work down there. And I said, man, y'all got any, Qurans in there? Yeah, we got a few boxes. I said, let me get a few. That's all I did since I was doing it all the time. I'm always on the outlook for books. So anyway, the long story is this. everything catches up with you. So one time, when we finished the deal, I used to tell Chicken Lips, he'd have one of them little U-Haul trailers and everything, vans. I said, let me have them scraps, the stuff. They didn't handle books right, so they'd have them all on the floor. And I called them scraps. So one time, about a year later, Chicken Lips said, I said, what can I get in this scraps? Ain't no scraps. I said, why is that? He said, I took those scraps and I sold those books for $400. So they wasn't scraps. They was books. I said, well, I mean, so I didn't, but they hustling me. They hustling me. See, they got a piped into the rich Arab book. They work in the book depository for all the big bad hard. You can't hardly get them unless you pay top dollar. And we'd be running them, and they just fill the brother up, and brother would be anyway. Whether it was books, whether it was with Marty Bray and them, we used to have all those guys locked up, locked into what we was doing because they had to get rid of those books for Saudi Arabia or whoever. And we said, hey man, shoot, with Marty Bray, I'd pay $25 a box for serious buy. It's so heavy you can't hardly lift them. I could lift them now, but then I was younger. Man, look at here. All the stuff you see around here, they thought it was magic. That's where most of it come from. From hustling books. We hustle books. Big time. I mean, and program after program, and then no overhead. Remember, we did the Masjid right there. There's no overhead, the little gas, little light and stuff like that. So we could stack up money. It ain't like now we got all this property and very little income. But that'll change. Don't worry about it. So here's the point, dear believers. Everybody around here is here because I would just say somebody sent them. I mean, just all the people they come in and do stuff when they were at wherever they was. Uh, there's a hook that you can get. You can pipe yourself into the government. Like the people write all the writs, the people do all of that kind of semi-legal work in the prison, right? The government put their niggas there. So that all the writs that's going to be against the government, they got to first look at them because they man has helped putting them together. All the letters you're going to write to the government, they're going to go through their Negroes. This is common all over. Some of the main people in the law library, they're going to be long timers. And if they can if they're going to do 40 years and they can knock off 10 years, what do you think they're going to do? I did just the other night, and I was so and so. Well, how much was it? I just did 30 years. Okay, fine. And I'm doing this, that, another. Fine. That just explain. Not everybody is doing it, but this is government policy. If everybody can tell you exactly what Al-Moody has been writing to the government, it's because the Negro has been writing it. It was some brothers came here one time, Lebanese and a Negro, say, well, why did they put me in the media unit, I said, cause you half Arab, you from Lebanon, and they need information. So you got a certain other kind of case, they put you in there. I said, they always put people in there with those guys so the guy didn't even look up. and the Negro that knew what I was saying, he was right here. He was right here. He was listening to it. So everybody know what's going on. Everybody know what's going on. And now I'll get back to what we have to do here. This is Ramadan. This is a beautiful month. We're an evolving community. Inshallah, we're going to evolve to the point to where psychologically where we are now is, I don't know, it don't sound like it, but I'm going to just say it. Uh, there's an evolutionary process that goes on in Islam. And what was it a few years ago? Humor, love, and optimism, something like that. Kindness and optimism, yeah. Right. Okay. As the years go on, that stuff gets stuck. I mean, it's the more you do it, you really, that becomes a part of your ideology. And that's what's happening. And technically, that's what's been happening. So anything that you see or saw that was written 10 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever, by now it's really incorporated. Brother Tufel and I used to talk about it on the phone a lot when I was in California. That stuff really becomes a part of you. This is just all right. So therefore, that's where we are now, and we are not. Things are not what they look like on the surface. As far as the government is concerned, we would be totally surrounded. That's the way they see it. When they look at us, they say, uh, "Ain't got no way out." Ain't no. If I get up in the middle of the night and zip up, zip out, I can see the traffic will start moving right here and up there to make sure where's that nigga going. It's any time of night, all the times of night, every night. So it ain't nobody. There's no time where you know what I mean. Maybe the people are sitting up the hill, man, wherever they sitting or watching, like from the inside, niggas start moving. But sometimes you just want to play. So you'll jump straight up, run up the stairs, run outside, and you'll lights blinking and everything right away. Right away. All the time, they do it every time. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And it's not new, it's been like that. Okay. So try to visualize this. We are now in a major transition period from what you see around here. Okay, they would see it as though, well, we got them boxed in, we affecting their income. And if they want to see it like that, that's okay. That's the way they're going to see it because they're doing it mathematically with what they see. Let's see. We done took a Baba Kloon and he's passed away or pretended to pass away or whatever it was. Because sometimes if you play a part of, you know what I mean, playing like you got a bad heart. Let me say that again. Sometimes you get tired of playing a part. Especially if you chose a part you thought this going to last 2 weeks, 2 years. But after you rolling year after year and you moving toward a decade, right? You said, boss man, I gotta need another part. So boss man just maybe erase the slate. I'm not saying he does, but he can erase the slate and send you off to Ooga Booga land, and and that's where you'll be. until he wants a reappearance or something. And the people that was right up next, they'll do the things that you will wonder why they do that. That's what people would think, right? Because if so and so was the way he appeared on surface, why would here's a long story. Ibn Klum is the son of clowns, the son of a clown, whoever they are. You have to be realistic now. I'm just saying that's the way it is. You can't make the rules and say, I want it to be like this. Boss man gonna deal you a hand. You don't have to want it or like it, but you're gonna have to deal with that hand, and you're gonna have to have more sense than he has. You're gonna have nothing you can do about it, but you should enjoy it. Not only the game, but the time, the longevity, and the history of people that they just smashed and stepped on, and squashed in history. And you can laugh and talk. With boss man, you say, "Yeah, boss man, we're gonna do this to you. We're gonna do that to you." And suppose you tell boss man you're gonna do 100 things to him, and you can do 5 or 10 of them. That's big. Why? Because niggas can't do nothing to boss man. Boss man dictate to everybody. Tell him, I'm gonna kill you, nigga. You got another week to go. And if you see boss man talking like that, you say, oh, boss man, you wouldn't hurt old Mose. You wouldn't hurt old Mose. He just playing. And then there's a crew and a boss man. You got to remember, there's more than one crew. In boss man's crew, there are human beings that really, we always say 10, 15%. FBI agents, regular FBI, that really believe what you know what I mean? They don't want to, they said, oh no, we're not stormtroopers. We're Federal Bureau of Investigation. And you got to remember, when you're being administrated, they got all kinds of people in that staff. They got some they start off, this is a terrible Negro and he deserves everything he gets. After they watch or mess with you for 10 or 15 years, they watch your behavior. This is something. Wait a minute. Wait just a minute now. We were told, and then they run across something that they never seen before. It's called an honest Negro. Oh, you think they don't? No, I don't believe that. So they got at least 5 or 10 years to prove that this to themselves. This is about longevity. Are you getting a feeling of why longevity is important? Longevity is important to do this over a long period of time, because the longevity that we were subject to was a longevity where he shook us out, right? But longevity from where we coming from is where we build strategic alliances within the system and even around the system. Because in strategic management and all of that, you have so many choices you can make. You have so many choices you can make, right? Okay. Then you have to bring in all of history, human nature, psychology, sociology. You have to bring that all together. Now remember, boss man is not like that. Boss man got an expert in psychology on you. He has an expert in sociology on you. And expert, that whole team is experts, right? In their own field. There's no totally comprehensive field. They don't look at it. They segment everything, right? So, but you're different. Let's call it holistic. And you've had time to deal with them over long periods of time. I'm telling you, uh, 50 and 60 years, and 50 years of knowing what you're doing, and 40 years of, hey, we're gonna work this. Cause see, most people they're gonna scare them to death. They're gonna say, like Goliath, he's too big to hit. Too big to hit. You can't hit him. Then a change of mind comes. He's too big to miss. I can't miss that joker. I can close my eyes and throw wherever it lands. It's gonna hit boss man or one of boss man's helpers. It don't make no difference. You can throw it behind you, throw it down, throw it up, and let it go. Because boss man has got the world stationed around you, right? And you know it. Okay. To most people, that's bad. They say, anybody get a wind of that? It's been my experience that people say, oh, F that man. I don't even want to think about that. Boss man has got everything, man. And he'll turn all the people. And boss man will. That mean your relatives that used to be on your team, you give boss man 25 or 30 years to work on your relatives. They won't be on your team no more. Or you have to be able to measure those people. They're going to give 80% to boss man. They're going to save 20% for me because they're relatives. And boss man not going to know which part they're going to save. Even save 10%, it's plenty. Right? So they're going to commit to boss man. You have to work. So when boss man look at them and test them and try them, that maximum commitment. Because they're not going to hide but 5%, 10%. Boss man can't tell, right? That's the thing that the people have to understand. With us, boss man can't tell nothing unless we tell him. What does that mean? What's the sign say? Oh, boss man, that sign said, no niggas allowed. Da, 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 da. And that may be what it says. But it may be no niggas allowed except Tuesday night from 12 to 2. Most men don't know that. Is everybody following what I'm talking about? We're in a magic position, and ain't nobody been even close to where we are. Nobody, they have Martin Luther King wasn't this close, Malcolm X, nobody was. They didn't have the time. They just didn't have the time. And the management skill, they just didn't have the time. And people like Dr. King, history might have done him a favor by allowing him to achieve martyrdom. This is already brokenhearted. Remember when he went to Chicago? He was saying, Mississippi, Alabama, ain't nothing, right? I just didn't, he didn't even understand. These white folks here? Good God Almighty. Did he actually say that? He said that and he meant it. Hey, I thought Jim Clark and all them was bad old whites. Hey, these northern Euros, okay. The same thing with Malcolm. Sometimes martyrdom is a great relief. It's a relief. It's not a punishment. Other people look at it as a punishment. But it's a relief. What would Dr. King done after he had to see these, what the Negro Superfly and all that? And he wouldn't have the power to do anything about it. That's what we learned from. The same thing, what they would have stopped on, we didn't stop on that. We didn't stop on that. We didn't say, man, this is terrible. We said, oh, boss man. But boss man uh, never was a horse that couldn't be rode, never was a cowboy that couldn't be throwed. That's what they used to say. They just so talk. Never was a horse that couldn't be rode. You know, but never was a cowboy that couldn't be thrown off. Boss man, historically, he's at the height of his career in the 60s. He's just rolling along. He don't care about nobody. The 70s come along, the 80s come along. Does everybody begin to see a change? Now look at boss man. Right now. Sure, we're surrounded. It's not important. If we just keep alive and cruising along, right? What did they do the other night? Killed another Negro up there, and I don't know where. But what's wrong with the people? Not 1,000 miles away, but right 2 blocks. They say he was killed 10 blocks, 15 blocks away from where so and so is going to court. And the white lady said, and you could hear her setting herself up to try to beat the case. Oh my God. Taser, and she pulling a gun. Not that a taser feels different than a gun, right? And everybody know what it is. Look at the world. What did the world think about Bossman? Remember how bad he used to be when your ass say something? That's it. What about now? What about now after Korea, after Vietnam? What about him after various crises around the world? What about him after the fall of Russia when he get to make fun of the Russians? And you don't make fun if you knock a guy out. You know what I mean? You don't stand over him making fun of him. You say, well, good fight, champ. You know you did good. You know what I mean? Let's have a little drink or something after that. Yeah, sucker, you lost. We won bubble gum. You lost applesauce. The U.S. made fun of Russia all during the 90s, right? And every other since then. Our system won. This great Americanism has won. Bullcrap. Now the Chinese, the Russians, the strategic alliances between Iran, between Iraq, right? Between Syria, between Yemen. Who's winning on all those? They're having a hard time. But who's holding out? They are. Even in, let's say, our little, who's possibly going to win next election in Iran? Possibly the same. Possibly. Probably. Who's losing? The same people that dumped us for boss man. Boss man tell them you got to get rid of them niggas. Yes, sir. Poop, they throw us out the window. You know, the only person that remembered us what it really meant was Imam Jamil. Because I used to tell him stuff like this. Yeah. Bro Rabbit and the Briar Patch. Y'all remember that? Brother Rabbit, Brother Rabbit. Please, Mr. Bat, please don't throw me in the briar patch. Don't do that. Oh no, no, not the briar patch. And he throws right where he lived. Little holes around there where the rabbits they make little tunnels. I see it every morning when I go running. Though they run right in there and they can't nobody get them. So he tell boss man, the bear, don't throw me in there, please. Just to show him who's boss, he throws him right there at home. That's the same thing about this. Oh, boss man, don't throw me in there with all them niggas. Not the niggas, anybody but them, boss. There you go. I'm telling you. That's why, look, you're not going to find any sadness, any hatred. I'm not going to wind up hating niggas because they do all of this stuff. Because that's why I asked boss man to throw me. Oh, with them niggas? Oh no, they do this. Not the niggas. Not the niggas. Niggas. Right? I'm telling you, look, God gave the colored man some things to work with. Everybody gets something to work with. And you can whip boss man, you have to tell him, boss man, I have been psychologically slapping you around for the longest. I mean, you don't want to losing sleep, not me. I mean, what right? Tell the truth. Boss man, and you got to do right. Do right. You must be crazy. So what he do? He just killed more and more blacks. And a long time ago, it was local news in the U.S. where it went to. If it went from one city to the other. But now it goes all over the world. You know what the world is saying? What in the hell is wrong with the white man in America? What is wrong with him? I mean, what? Have you been drinking or you using dope? Right? All of the above. All of the above. The people don't, they trying to figure out, wait a minute. You have read Gabon's Fall of the Roman Empire and all. You have, that's what I was talking to the FBI. I said, you have read a couple of history books, haven't you? This is 10 years ago. Imagine what they're doing now. The same FBI. I talked to them like I'm talking. I said, no, man. No. You ain't gonna be. You ain't gonna. It ain't gonna work like that. I said, I'm sorry. Okay. Our point is this: we got. We have the best job in modern times. We have right here, and there's no sense getting absorbed in disliking people because they behave like human beings. The Quran tells you what the human being is going to do, right? Hadith tell you if he's not a serious believer, and if he's even a pretty good believer, he's still going to slip and slide. That's what forgiveness is about, right? Why you think Allah invented forgiveness? He invented it for the human being. He don't need it for himself. Allah don't need forgiveness. Allah ain't did nothing. He invented it. The animals don't need forgiving because they don't do nothing but what they genetic program said. Woof, we eat rabbits. He's not going to change his makeup because he can't. But insan, the human being. Anyway, this Ramadan puts us at a time in history. Things are getting a little bit closer to something or other. I mean, it's something coming up. It's not a big mystery, but the thing for us is to to hold on to our way of life and to do it uh, with kindness. I don't want to mention this word, but technically, LOV, I won't even say it. Because I remember we was down there and I was saying, see, the young lady said, I like you, because I was saying, when y'all look at me, I probably, so was a young girl like could have been a granddaughter or something. I like you. I said, I'll be damned. Excuse me. I said, I'll be doggone. Do you remember that? So she was probably looking at me like her grandfather or something like that. And I'm looking at me at what the white man be looking at, right? Or the system, or the Negroes that boss men hire. One thing I want to mention to all of us is never get hooked up on the Negroes that boss men hire. Because usually the ones that he picked for a special job, usually they're basically crackpots. They're not screwed on too tight. If they was, they wouldn't do the job. You could imagine the people that do certain things, they wouldn't do that if they had any sense. The things they say. Some people have said, your father sold you into slavery. I said, well, I'd be doggone. Stuff like that, right? That we've heard with our ears. The stuff that they say don't make sense. Those are the people you have to select and focus in on to try to do good on their behalf. It's not like, Lord, forgive them, they know not what they do, but it's similar. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And if we use human adjustment and human mathematics and all of that to try to produce what Allah wants us to produce, well, we'll make a mistake every time. You'll make a mistake every time. The only thing that can solve this is that you using superior text, superior reality. And forgiveness is more powerful than hatred. All right. It's very simple. I have reserved for myself the rule of mercy. Who said that? Allah said it in the Quran. I have designed for myself, I have hooked myself up with the rule of mercy. So that's Allah and put on himself, right? A rule. You can't put no rule on Allah, but Allah can put on himself, and he can take it off if he wants. But the rule, we count on that. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, now let's just jump into history and head on home. This is a transition period that we're going through. It's kind of clear to see that. Okay. We always said we wanted to play a part in that. And sometimes it don't look like that. Sometimes if you look at it the way he presented, you'll look like a victim. They did this to me. They did that to me. No. You set them up. You arranged for them to be discombobulated. Right? You manage them on occasion. Right? You set them up. You arrange for them to participate with you or about you in the way that outcome, whatever it is, fits you and it helps you. Yeah. You can take the things that they throw on you, turn it into fertilizer, what we always say, right? And grow yourself and anything else out of the same thing that out of this discarded. And remember, the world that we want to participate in coming up right now is take the discarded, abused, misused, and they ain't care nothing about them, and build a world out of them. And those people will help fix the world. That's just the way we think about it. What else is, what other better job, where you're going to sign up is something better than that. Tell the truth. It ain't no better job than that. Okay, let me move. I won't go into. During Ramadan, we'll be reviewing project management because this is the first week we'll be just cruising along with food and getting all that together. And the last 2 weeks or the last week, we will be more into fundraising and getting things together. And of course, the last days of Ramadan, we'll have the whole list of appearances where everybody is and what everybody's doing. We might hit a few places during during Ramadan. Around the middle of Ramadan, near the end, they have Ayah. Ayah is 19th to 21st and the 23rd of Ramadan. It's a Shia program where they come out in heavy numbers. They used to have all the programs at our Masjid in Oakland. Now they have them at IEC. They'll have them all around. All the Shia are not our enemies. There's some of the brothers still here in the United States that that really, that was a period of really solidarity, and you'd have to call it real compassion, because when people are kicked out of what they not where they want to be right there and they're studying, they're gonna go back. And when they find somebody that don't double cross them and they can put confidence in, they really, that develops a certain bond. Okay, some of the people that you see in the media had pieces of that bond, but as they moved on, their political position and their crew began to take precedence over them. And at a certain time, they look like, and boss man is hitting on them. Yeah, we're gonna hook y'all up because y'all with us. And they look up, boss man, and did what he always do. He speak with a forked tongue. I'm telling you. And he don't miss. I don't know how boss man pull it off, but he pulls it off. He's willing to fool, able to fool a whole lot of people almost all the time. Maybe there's some inferiority complex in them that they have for boss man. Because boss man don't have no whole lot of trouble. He don't do nothing slick or witchified, witchery. He don't. He just say, he just give his word. I swear to God, I'll do it. You do? Well, we with you, boss man. And by the way, those mean old people over there, maybe they are the Iranians or Iraqis, they're a mean bunch. And if you help us, we'll help you with them by steering the people away from them. And you look at things right now. That was a bargain. I had people years ago, decades ago, telling me we they was working stuff out in Oman and other places, where they're having secret meetings with boss man. Didn't nobody know about it because there wasn't nobody saying nothing, definitely in the media, right? We knew about it. And some of our friendly people was telling me, before they put in the double cross. We're going to do this, and we're going to talk to them, and we're going to, okay, it's fine. It's your business, you know. And they did. And maybe they're a little sad now. But can you imagine that one lie by boss man can influence presidencies, prime ministerships, and all of that? And have the people looking like, you know, that baboon that has a big red shiny behind? And he walk around, that's all you see is butt sticking up in the air. A baboon. That's the way boss man make the brothers look. They walking around right now with their butts sticking up in the air. Election time is around the corner. And boss man, they tell him, boss man, they have to have elections 2 weeks, man, a month, 2 months. We gotta have something before, or they're gonna. And boss man don't care. He act like he don't even. Sometimes he acts even out of sync with himself. But you got to remember, this is that period in history. Look, this is that period in history where he's not in control. He's not in control of his Russia policy, Chinese policy. He letting the Zionists turn flips over everybody. And it's okay, kill all the Palestinians you want. Just because it's their property, don't worry about it. Just kill them. Use flash, you see all this flashy stuff, just killing them. Blow up everything. These are people that said that we were brutalized by the Nazis. They're using a 100% Nazi policy on the Palestinians. 100 to detail the same thing Nazis did to them. That's what they're doing to Palestinians because they have power. Okay. Anyway, so what we'll do here is have, after we have this, if we could put up 2 tables over there, and we'll, the rest of the stuff, yeah, we can put up a couple of tables over there, and yeah, 2 whole tables instead of 1 table. In case we just have a whole line of stuff we can put. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Put 2 tables over there. We can fill them up with a little water. And we got burners downstairs, but the brothers is going to bring burners. The way the food will work is we already got a few. For instance, if nobody came tomorrow night, well, we got some food that we could make a salad. We got a soup, and we got potatoes. You know them, not hash brown, whatever we call it, our Negro potatoes. So we don't care that, you know what I mean. Those are all so-called side dishes, but it'll turn into a real dish if you want it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, so we have some of those things down there. I might have to get my car to us now. I might have to go shopping tomorrow in the morning to get a few things. And I won't be able to get my car as to what's the name till around maybe Thursday or Friday, you know. But he already, from what I understand, is ready to go on them. If not, it's okay. No signs of surrender, nor cooperation. For us, we're here and there's no signs of surrender. You know, they think they wear you down, surround you, do this, that to you, and you'll quit. Well, everybody else did quit. What we do is rest on boss man. We kick our feet up on the thing and just kick back and we get started working. Now we're into our work mode. We're happy to cook and prepare food during Ramadan. We're happy to go and raise funds, which whatever we raise, it will be fine. With Allah's help, we'll prepare to go to California when we get ready, you know, to do what we have to do there. And it looks like a very healthy period for our development. Number one, we done already survived everything boss man can throw at us. We done survived that for years. There ain't nothing else he could do. You know, there's nothing else he could do. It's just all done. The other thing is, what is it? No signs of surrender or nor cooperation. All the people you see around, they have surrendered to the system and they cooperate with the system. That's why everything you see stacked up, loaded down there, that's from the system. The system give it to people that have already won their approval. Their approval was won by being up next to us and, you know, what have you. Okay, that's not bad because we knew what was going on when it was happening and we knew what it led to. Okay, so here's how we look at it. If you're used to being what it called an all-day sucker or when you're used to being a meal ticket, that's what you want for people. So we're the Negro meal ticket. You think they would give them all of that stuff they give them if it wasn't that it was designed to divert us or slow us down? That's what it's for. Guess what we want? We want them to have that. You don't never see us, oh, we showed on them niggas is low down. They're not low down. They're colored. And they do what people do under those conditions. If you're sitting up in prison for 30 years, 25 years, or you're looking at 50 years in prison, the boss man say, you get with me, I'll knock 15 years of that off. You go home 35 years. You'll still be physically, at least you can be able to walk around. What would you do? What would the average person do? Yeah, boss man, shoot, I'll keep an eye on them niggas for you. I'll do all this legal work. I'll get all of this stuff. And every time they want to write a writ, you'll know what it's going to say the minute I write it for them. And then you can decide. Some, they're going to let you win. Some, you're not going to win. And they already know what you done wrote before. This is the way the system works. Okay, now for us. We have survived in the midst of all of that. And the biggest corner we ever turned was a corner of love. I hate to say it, but that's what it is. It ain't nothing bigger. I hate to sound Jesus-like, but I'm telling you. Finally, I'm getting the courage to use the word. L-O-V, love. That's what it is. Okay, before I close, get mad. Get hatred. I hate them niggas. Who you gonna hate? How many niggas you gonna hate? All of them. You're gonna hate every nigga you can find. I hate that nigga. That nigga did this, that nigga did. You just pull out your list and you can't write enough. Right? Not that nigga, them niggas. All of them. Because if they stick around long enough, boss man gonna find out what is their price. Nigga, what you want? I want to be famous. Well, sign there. Put your X there, nigga. I know you can't write. You ain't got enough sense to even write. Put your X there. And I'll make you famous. Right? It may be just famous as a rapper, or I hate niggas, kill that bitch, shoot them niggas, right? They'll still be popular. The white man didn't tell him he's gonna make him good. He said, "I'll make you famous," right? The nigga, no better. He just, I'm famous. Stick him on about 16 rolls of gold chains. You know what I mean? About 50,000 rings. You ought to see the modern Negro. When we was coming up, you could just have one or two diamonds or a big fat one on this hand. Now niggas got diamonds on all their fingers. Been at them. Got, I don't know, what is this nigga gonna do with 3 watches? Watch here, watch there, then another watch on his neck. What is he? He can't tell time already, right? What is a nigga gonna do with all of that stuff? Just the people laughing at him, it don't bother him, right? You know, I'm gonna just close in a minute. When I was in the airport in LA, boy, I had the baddest mink hat that it was brown with a dark brown. Man, it was sharp. So the white man told other white man, I will buy it if you will wear it. I'm in LA, so maybe 75 degrees. It's nice. One white man, he was laughing. He's lucky I didn't get to him because I didn't have much sense then. I'd bust him upside the head. I'll buy it, he tell him, if you will wear it. As hot as it is outside, this nigga got a mink hat on. I'll buy it from him right now if you put it on and sweat yourself to death. But what else you gonna do with a mink hat but wear it? Who cares what the temperature is, right? Anyway, big surprise, history's on our terms. The last one, the emperor has no clothes. Y'all remember the story about the emperor has no clothes? The emperor has no clothes. You gotta tell the emperor, boy, there's some sharp stuff I'm fixing to hook you up with. Something like that. And he don't put nothing on it. And he said, ooh, boy, look at him. You looking good. He's up there naked. And so everybody else is just, hey, man, you as sharp as a tack. I mean, you are in big time. Walaikum salam. Okay, so then we'll fix up here. But downstairs tomorrow, and I'll close with this. This is what we expect. We already have some dates and everything, but if we were to not get anything at all tomorrow, we could get by with what we got already, you know. And then we would go on and cook some main deals. But we got a nice batch of stuff down there now. In fact, yeah, we got rice and vegetables. We got that nice, call it a soup or saute for and we got, what else we got? And Negro potatoes. Shoot, we could survive with that and hook up a salad. Okay, but the point is this. We expect people to bring other things. I think tomorrow it'll be fish. You know that fish the brother make with that lemonade? He bakes it with that. Yeah, so he gonna bring that and something else, Persian stuff. And I'll close with this. The idea is all those refrigerators work down there. So this is Wednesday. So by Saturday, we will have set enough aside, whether Saturday or Sunday, or maybe both, because we'll have enough food to feed the people outside too. So as long as that is available, we will do that, inshallah. We'll feed the public and we'll look out, for them. inshallah. So, are there any questions or any comments? But we got, they're going to bring tablecloths, little stones, although we got some of those plates. But we got all of that stuff anyway. So we want to make this a nice Ramadan. Anyway, like we say, we'll do Taraweeh tonight, and tomorrow we'll start fasting, although many people have started today. But there's a crew that started with us, you know, and so, and we'll have Taraweeh, and we'll do the first week is normal. Then after that, we'll kick in with fundraising and go in different places. You know, and one person stand here and lead the prayer, or some visitor lead the prayer, and we go out and you know, raise the funds that we need. And the last thing I want to say about when you talk about Joseph and his brothers, when you go look for Joseph and his brothers, and never give up hope of Allah's soothing mercy, for none gives up hope of Allah's soothing mercy, but those that have no faith. I use the same thing for funds. Never panic about this is our last dollar. No, if Allah then hooked us up for not 50 years, but close to that, way up in there, just say way up in there, right? With no breaks. So why would we even feel that, you know, that something is going to happen? If it do happen, it's good for us. You see what I mean? If it do happen, it's good for us. Okay, are there any questions or comments? But as we say, I see some brothers here if they want to. Okay, any questions or any comments about anything? Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Is it time for Adhan? It looks like pretty close.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu